You hear it everywhere, right? Artificial intelligence is going to completely change medicine. It's going to find new drugs, diagnose diseases with a single scan, and create treatments just for you. But with all this hype, there's a really important question that we're not asking nearly enough. How do we actually know any of this is working? Especially in the super high-stakes world of clinical trials. We've got to get past the buzzwords and figure out how to make sure AI is delivering real, measurable value for patients.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the big problem with clinical trials as they are right now. Then, we'll see how AI stepped in as this promised fix. After that, we get to the real core of it. How do we measure what actually matters? And how do we build a new rulebook for AI? And finally, we'll talk about something called the tipping point. That's the moment when using these tools isn't just a good idea, it's an ethical must.
So to really get why everyone's so excited about AI, you first have to understand the mess it's supposed to clean up. And that mess is right at the heart of how we get new medicines.
For decades, we've been told that clinical trials are the gold standard. They are the absolute bedrock of medicine, the way we prove something is safe and that it actually works. But here's the thing, that gold standard, it's starting to look pretty tarnished. It's showing some really serious cracks.
So what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, it means the whole system is struggling. These trials can drag on for years, burning through millions, sometimes even billions of dollars. And maybe the worst part of all, after all that time and all that money, they often just fizzle out. They end up being inconclusive, leaving doctors and patients with no clear answers. So with this system under all this pressure, a new hero swoops in, promising to fix everything. And of course, that hero is artificial intelligence.
And you can see why people are so hopeful. The potential is just staggering. I mean, from designing smarter trials from the get-go, finding the perfect patients way faster, analyzing mountains of data, you can slap an AI tool onto literally every single step of the process. The possibilities feel endless.
But, and this is a huge but, here's the hidden catch. We've gotten so excited about all the places we can use AI that we kind of forgot to ask the most important question of all. Is it actually adding any value? Are we really making trials better, or are we just making them more complicated? And this is where we have to totally shift our thinking. It's not good enough to just plug in some new tech. We have to get way, way smarter about how we measure its real impact.
Okay, let me give you an example. Just imagine you have two different AI tools, and they each save you exactly 1 hour of work. Tool A makes screening patient records faster, saving an hour in recruitment. Tool B helps you optimize the actual design of the trial, saving an hour up front. So, are those 2 hours worth the same? No way, not even close. That 1 hour spent making the trial's foundation stronger could save you months of wasted time and effort down the road.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly explains the danger we're in. Because if we don't have a good system to measure real value, we're naturally going to drift towards the easiest thing to count, money. We'll just pick the AI tools that give us simple, easy-to-see cost savings.
But focusing only on cost means we are totally missing the bigger picture. We risk ignoring the tools that provide much deeper, more powerful benefits. What about an AI that makes a trial more informative, that boosts the chance of getting a clear yes or no answer? Or what about one that makes the results more reproducible, which, by the way, is a massive crisis in science right now? These are the real game changers.
Okay, so if just counting the cash is the wrong way to do it, what's the right way? Well, the argument is that we need a completely new rulebook. We need a standardized, universal framework just for figuring out the value of AI in this space.
And the good news is, we don't have to invent this from scratch. In healthcare, there's already this really powerful tool called a QALY, which stands for Quality Adjusted Life Year. It's a standard way to measure the value of a new drug, not just by how many years it adds to someone's life, but by the quality of those years. It's not just about living longer, it's about living better.
So the big idea is to create an equivalent for AI, a QALY for AI, if you will. We need a framework that's based on this idea of value, one that would let us make real apples-to-apples comparisons between all these different AI tools out there.
Now, building something like this isn't going to happen overnight. It's a real process. It means you have to get everyone in the same room, not just the drug companies and the scientists, but also the investigators and, most importantly, the patients themselves to actually agree on what value even means. Then you have to figure out how to measure it, and then you have to rigorously test the AI tools against that new standard. And look, this isn't just some academic exercise. This isn't just about making better spreadsheets. If we can actually pull this off, it leads to a really powerful and I think unavoidable ethical conclusion.
It leads us to what the research calls the tipping point. Think of it as the point of no return. It's that exact moment when the proof that an AI tool adds value is so strong, so overwhelming, that choosing not to use it becomes completely indefensible. And let's be really clear about the stakes here. Clinical trials are built on the trust and the selflessness of volunteers. These are people who raise their hands to help advance science. We have a profound duty to them to make sure their incredible contribution is never, ever wasted on a sloppy or inefficient study. It's just plain unethical.
So this all boils down to one simple, unavoidable truth. The second we can prove, with hard evidence, that an AI tool makes a trial better, more efficient, more likely to succeed, it stops being an interesting new gadget. It becomes a moral obligation. You have to use it.
And that really leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought to chew on. In a world that's changing so fast, when exactly does progress stop being a choice and start being a duty? For the patients who are out there right now waiting for a cure, the answer is pretty simple. It already is.